Good evening. Today is Wednesday, June 22nd, 2022, and we have three new updates on the COVID situation in mainland China since we last did a video. So we have three new press briefings. This is the one from June 20th. There were 14 new domestic cases on the Chinese mainland, 10 in Shanghai and 4 in Beijing. On June 21st, there were 9 new domestic cases, also both in Shanghai and Beijing. 6 in Shanghai, 3 in Beijing, and then today, June 22nd, 10 new domestic cases, 4 in Beijing, 4 in Shanghai, 1 in Guangdong, and 1 in Inner Mongolia. Beijing and Shanghai continuing to seemingly demonstrate that they have the outbreak under control. They have not introduced a flurry of new restrictions. They have not issued any warnings to the general public. And it's to my understanding that most of these cases are ones that are in quarantine, isolation, that are managed, and they're not related to any sort of community cases of the virus. Nonetheless, we can see how Bloomberg is characterizing the situation. I believe what I had meant to show is how this is previewed. Cases at 4-month low as threat of resurgence continues. That seeming to suggest that here we are, 10 new domestic cases. If we look at total confirmed cases, 31. The number of cases in China is quite low, the lowest it's been since before the Shanghai outbreak emerged, and China was battling Omicron outbreaks in different parts of the country. Nonetheless, as Bloomberg notes, the outbreak shifted now from Beijing and Shanghai south to Shenzhen and Macau. Macau having what is perhaps now the most serious. It's not even that large of an outbreak compared to what Beijing had, but nonetheless it is something for Macau to be very vigilant about and make sure that nothing happens. Shenzhen also responding very quickly after just, I think, maybe one case or maybe a few more. They had mass testing and locked down several neighborhoods as a result. Macau even locking down a hotel with 700 people inside quarantined due to the outbreak. You can see here, this is Macau. 2 days ago on June 20th, people being subjected to mass testing after a few cases were identified in the city-state. Those people that were in that hotel and casino resort, they were locked down inside of that building and are now subject to coronavirus testing to make sure that the virus does not spread from beyond the casino into the population. And as Beijing continues to try to fend off the virus and make sure that there is absolutely no way for it to continue to spread, all people over the age of 3 must have a negative PCR test in order to enter parks in the city. Negative PCR tests being essentially required for almost everything in Beijing: parks, public transportation, going to businesses, going to work, and whatnot. It's an absolute must if you're someone that lives in Beijing and wants to participate in day-to-day functions. The capital also essentially containing the Heaven Supermarket bar cluster that erupted a few weeks ago and was really the most significant threat to the city's anti-epidemic strategy since June of 2020 with the Xinfadi market. Anyways, that is the update from Beijing, or rather from all of mainland China, for June 22nd, 2022. Beijing and Shanghai continue to look as though they have things under control. Macau continuing to do its best to stamp out what few cases, if any, it really had. And Shenzhen racing after it identified 1 or 2 or a few new cases of the virus. We have 1 today here, new in Guangdong. But nonetheless, Shenzhen, Macau, the new focus of China's anti-epidemic strategies, much smaller outbreaks than Beijing and Shanghai. And I think that they're probably going to have a good grip on this. And we'll just have to continue to watch to see how well the zero COVID strategy continues as we progress through summer 2022. Thank you.